social media for us, it's been a big thing in our own shop now. I think, we're probably 10% to 15% busier than we probably normally would if we didn't have it. I think in a big way, because people want to come in and see you. Yeah, and they'll buy a bag of meat and they're all happy.
This is the Australian Butchers Guild podcast, brought to you by Meat and Livestock Australia, the podcast for passionate butchers.
G'day and welcome to the Australian Butchers Guild podcast. I'm your host, Doug Piper. Today on the podcast, we're shining the spotlight on the next generation of Aussie butchers. We're heading to Rutherford in regional New South Wales to meet Jack Stuart from 21st Century Meats, a young butcher making serious waves at the bench. Jack represents what the future of independent butchery looks like. He's hands-on, he's customer first, and driven by pride in the craft. From mastering the fundamentals to building trust with his local community, Jack's journey is a great reminder that age is no barrier when passion, work ethic and sharp skills come together. We'll talk about Jack's pathway into the trade, what motivates him as a young butcher today, and where he sees the industry heading next. If you care about the future of butchery in Australia, this is one you don't want to miss. G'day, Jack.
G'day, Doug. How you going, mate?
I'm great, mate. How are you? How's things out in Rutherford today?
Yeah, no, busy, mate. The cold weather's upon us at the moment, and we've got the pies, the hot pies in the warmer, selling cold as well. Yeah, no, very busy for us here in the shop.
That's awesome, mate. What sort of pies are you making there?
We're doing a smoked brisket pie. They're a beef brisket. We smoke them in the smokehouse, natural wood smoke for a few hours just to get that smoke into the meat, and then we chop them up and we pressure cook them down with a gravy we make and a secret special sauce, and whack it into a pie shell on the top, and sell them hot in the pie warmer.
Any particular days that you do them? Yeah,
so we sell them ones on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, just until we're sold out. We do about sort of anywhere from 60 to 100, depending on the demand. And the time of year, like this time of year, it's pretty busy. So we sell a few now, probably around that 100 a day, which is pretty handy.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Yeah, it's certainly pie weather here, that's for sure. Mate, 21st Century Meats, how long have you owned that for? And tell us a little bit about the business.
So I've owned it now for 2 years. We've just gone on 2 years in April, so into our second year now. I took it over from a family that had it. They basically set the shop up about 19 years ago now, and it changed hands a couple of times between the family, and then they decided they wanted to move on. And I always sort of had my eyes on a big shop like this, gourmet shop, and I liked the name of it. It was catchy. So, we got in and purchased it, and we're now 2 years in, and all guns are blazing.
Yeah, I remember the shop opening up. It was around about the same time I started with MLA, and Peter was the previous owner, someone like that.
David Horns.
And he had big plans for the shop, and it's a beautiful big shop. And I was only up there, about a couple of months ago when I saw you. Mate, it's so clean. And I think I mentioned it to you. One of my pet hates in a butcher shop are dirty tickets and dirty glass, and I couldn't fault it, mate. It was an absolute credit to you and your team.
Yeah, we're a little bit OCD, but you sort of got to be, don't you? It's all about the appeal.
Exactly right. You've got to have the look, you've got to have the cleanliness, and you've got to have the service too.
That's it. Yeah, it all rolls into one, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Prior to buying the shop, what were you doing? Where were you working?
Well, I actually got out of butchering, or semi-got out of butchering for a couple of years, and I worked on a cattle property. We were doing the F1 program, so I got to learn how to do crossbreeding cattle. So we done for anyone that doesn't know, an F1 is a first cross. So pure Black Angus cows with a Wagyu bull. So if you ever see like a Jack's Creek with an F1 on it, it's a cross. They breed them that way specifically for the higher marble, and it doesn't have that overpowering Wagyu taste like a normal Wagyu steak would. You can sort of eat a whole steak and enjoy it without that really rich Wagyu flavour. Yeah, so I got out of that. On the side, while I was working on the farm, because I was living and working on the farm, I ran a mobile butchery business, which I'd run on weekends, on my weekends off. So we'd kill on a Sunday, I'd hang in the cool room on the property for a week, and then we'd cut it all up on the Saturday, clean the cool room out and ready for a kill day on Sunday again. So yeah, that's sort of what I was doing before I bought the shop.
The mobile butcher business, did you do a special course for that, or were you self-taught or taught by somebody?
No, there's not really a course for it. There's a lot of people that get into it that have worked in an abattoir, like slaughtering and butchering and that sort of thing, would do it. It's something that I sort of got to learn growing up as an apprentice, going out with guys that done it just on the side for a little bit of pocket money, and sort of self-taught myself how to do the cattle side of things, was the quartering, like skinning, gutting, quartering, and then basically went from there.
I seem to remember you were keen to do a bit of competition butchery many years ago when I think you were still an apprentice.
Yeah. So when I was an apprentice, I'd done several competitions. Yeah. One of which led me overseas in the, apprentice butchers team in Ireland. And that was back in 2018. So yeah, a few years ago now. But yeah, that was a really eye-opening competition just to see what other countries do and how they operate. And it was good. Very good camaraderie.
They're pretty good for that. They're very good for that, actually, networking with other butchers. How did you find the level of competition and the skills? Is it much different to what we have in Australia?
Look, I think we're sort of behind on some countries, but we're ahead on some countries as well. It's just sort of the demographic and cultures, but we're definitely up there, I'd say, from a value adding point these days, especially now at this point where we're at. If you look at meat stock and that sort of thing, back then there was value adding, but it's above and beyond now, especially in Australia. Back then, some of the countries was just it was a wow factor, It was stuff I've never seen before, and I wanted to really learn it. And we do it in our shop now, So yeah, big eye opener.
How much of your window would be value add then?
At least 60%. And if we didn't have that in the shop here, we probably wouldn't be able to open the doors. It's as simple as that. I think now, anyway.
Yeah, when you look around, you look at the majors like the Coles and the Woolies out there, and you look at their meal solutions, their pre-cooked gear, as well as their value add stuff. They're getting better and better at it. So, and in particular, if you're right out the front, like where you are, you're right out the front of the Coles, I think, is it?
Woolies, yeah.
Woolies, yeah. That's where they're going to go. So if you haven't got it in there.
I see it like this now, and we don't compete with butcher shops in our area. We do compete against the big guys, and I see it as a convenience for people. I think people, they probably do want to buy meat from the butcher shop, but they can go in. Woolies is their one-stop shop. They can do it all in one go. People have busy lives. People work 2 jobs now. Everything's expensive. But we need that edge. We need that eye-catching edge. When people walk past our counter, they're going to be drawn to it. So it's got that factor. And saleability-wise, it's easy. Like you've probably heard 100 times before, 180 for 30 minutes. It's a big thing. People can chuck it in the oven. They can go and have a shower and a beer, and dinner's ready, and it's another convenience thing for people. So I think that's what gives that edge for us over the big guys and keeps our doors open.
Mm. How do you keep coming up with new value add ideas?
For us, it's just trial and error. We just try out new things in the shop, and we'll put them in the oven. And we've got the kitchen here. We're very lucky. We can try new things and test them out. We do a lot of social media. So we ask people what they'd like to see, or we can see what other butchers are doing and try and put it all together and brainstorm on ideas. So
it's a real bonus to have that kitchen there, just so it helps you utilize more of the carcass, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. Cuts when I was an apprentice that you couldn't give away. Now we can make a pie, or we can make some sort of product that's very saleable and tasty and yummy.
Do you do much in pastries apart from the pies?
Yeah, we do. So we do pinwheels, lattice pastries. That was another one I learnt in the competition sector, was how to make origami bases that you can put your fillings in with a lattice over the top, and you can still see what's inside the pastries to showcase it. We even do a cheeseburger lattice pastry, and it looks like a McDonald's cheeseburger. It's got all your pickles and onion and the sauce and all that sort of stuff, and it's we sell tons of them.
The days of the old marinated stir fries and that, are they still around, or do you think they're sort of dead and buried with the pastries that we're doing today?
Yeah, no, we still sell a few stir fries, not as many as you probably would a few years back, but we definitely have still got a couple there. We've got a Mongolian lamb and a honey soy, and yeah, a lot of the old people like that because they can chuck it in a Chinese container and put it in the pan, and it's the way they go. So
the sausage trade, how do you find that?
In this shop, I've worked in shops before and managed shops and been, an apprentice in a shop that we sold a lot of sausages. This shop, we don't sell a lot of sausages. I'm not sure why that is. We do have a couple flavored sausages that we run all the time. We do a jalapeno and cheddar and a cheeseburger. Again, cheeseburger, people like cheeseburger. It's the big name products that sell here. And we do a plain thick and thin. We probably sell maybe 800 kilos a week. Some shops are selling 2 ton a week. So on a smaller scale here, and we'll probably jump to it in a minute, but we don't bone a lot of beef out. We only sort of sell the primal cuts. Reason being is because I end up with too much byproduct to sell in the sausages.
And bang, beef. Not many guys are boning their own beef anymore. It's probably about 50%, I think.
Yeah. A lot of guys are getting broken primals now because, that blade steak, what's that? But, people don't know what a cross-cut blade is. I think it's the most underrated cut personally, but people just don't know what it is or how to cook it. And there's so many ways you can cook it. You can just fry it or grill it, or you can slow cook it. So same as like a piece of chuck.
Yeah, I saw a few weeks back. What part of what I do is I go into the supermarkets and see what they're doing all that, and just sort of get a gauge on what they are actually selling out there. And I saw some cross-cut blades in Aldi.
Okay.
I don't know how they were selling. They had a heap in there, and it's probably the right target market because a lot of the older people shop in Aldi, and price point was pretty reasonable too. But they had a lot. They had it stacked a mile high, so either they had just put it out or it's been sitting there for a little while. But the old cross-cut blade, it's got a purpose, and I reckon it actually cooks up better as a braise rather than a grill, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it does.
Are you employing any apprentices at the moment or looking to bring any on?
We've got 2 apprentices at the moment. I've got a fella, Josh, he's just started his third year, and another young fella, Tyler, he's halfway through his first year. I'd like to have more apprentices at the moment. We're just getting a few things adjusted in the shop, and we'll probably be looking at maybe girl apprentice. We've got a young girl that's keen. She's done work placement in the shop and showed a little bit of potential. So we might have our third one around the corner.
Oh, well done. It's a good thing to do. That's the only way we're going to get more butchers into the trade is by butchers like yourself bringing more of them on. It's hard to get them into the door to do it, but well done with that. I think it's very important. Are your apprentices workplace assessed, or are they going to TAFE?
Yeah, they're workplace assessed. So they do their bookwork. They get 3 hours a week. They sit in the office here where I am right now. They sit down and do their bookwork. If they have any questions, we can help them with. And obviously their practical component, they get assessed in the shop as well. Yeah, so they're all in-house.
So you're in a sort of I suppose it's a semi-rural area, isn't it, where Rutherford is, Maitland area?
Yeah, we're sort of, 45 to 50 minutes to the beach, and we're basically at the doorsteps of the Hunt. We're at the lower Hunter Valley. We're sort of 45 minutes from Barrington Tops. So it's, right in the middle of all of that.
I got to say, your socials are very good. You do a great job on those. Did you do any special courses? Just something, being a young fella, you got a phone in your hand all the time and you just got onto it and got better and better at it?
Is this thing on? Is that what we're talking about? That sort of socials? Yeah, no. So people are probably wondering, we've seen that. Is this thing on? It's on. It just come about. We were doing a video in the shop, and I sort of was like, are we videoing? And one of the girls is behind, she's like nodding at me like, yeah. So I just get rolling with it. So that's how that come about. But social media for us, it's been a big thing most of my butchering career. I've got some silly little videos I've watched back, just in the shop when I was an apprentice, making sausages and stuff like that into other shops. And then it's obviously in our own shop now. It's progressed and it's massive. I think, we're probably 10% to 15% busier than we probably normally would if we didn't have it. I think in a big way, because people want to come in and see you. They see the specials that you put up, they like to get involved in that. And we get a lot of people come in and say, is this thing on? And and they'll buy a bag of meat and they're all happy. So
I love the tagline. I've watched them a few times, and the first time I saw it, is this thing on? And I'm thinking, you should have cut that out, mate. And then I look at another one and it's on there again. I'm thinking, hang on, there's something here. So it's a good little thing to have, a little hook to get people in.
Yeah, exactly.
And, mate, the bromance between you and Rod Trenchard.
Oh yeah. It's because we're rangers, mate. We just click. Not many people like us rangers, they pick on us. We just click like that.
I think you've probably started something there with that whole bromance sort of thing, because you see a lot of butchers now doing similar sort of things, and it's only for the benefit of the industry too, because people look at butchers now as, they used to always look at butchers as a happy-go-lucky sort of person, that you're never grumpy. Well, there is a couple of grumpy butchers, one in Nabiac, to be quite honest. I hope he's listening. But yeah, there's just that camaraderie there, and it's sort of growing, and it makes people feel comfortable walking into any butcher shop knowing they're not going to be, they're going to get what they want, and they're going to be greeted by somebody that knows this stuff,
Oh, 100%. And I think back to being a kid going into the butcher shop with dad, and seeing the local butcher, and he was, you're always sort of half scared of the bloke until he give you a Frankfurt, where now, kids come up and they're saying the same thing. Is this thing on? And they love it. So,
do you actually offer them any food there, like a slice of Devon or?
I've got in the window a little ticket in the Frankfurt display, free Frankfurts for kids. They can have one or two of them, but that's our little offer. Some parents actually say, "Oh, I haven't seen that for years. I used to get that when I was a kid." So it's, all butchers out there do it. It sooks the parents up a little bit, and they keep coming back as well. So
it's a great idea. It worked for thousands of butchers back in the day. I have memories of going to a butcher shop opposite my grandmother's place, and old Mr. Door, and he'd give you we were in Adelaide, and he'd give you a slice of Fritz, but he'd make you stand there and behave yourself. And it wasn't till the very end that you got your slice of Fritz, because you knew if you misbehaved in the beginning, you weren't going to get it. So you were very well behaved. But a great idea, mate. And I think other butchers should do it. I think it's not a big expense, and if you're making them yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's even cheaper, isn't it? But for what you can buy a good Frankfurt for, there may be $12 for a 2 kilo packet. What's $12, like to put a smile on a kid's face and keep them coming back to your shop and walking out with a bag of meat.
And the best part about that is they remember it, and when they get older, they bring their kids to the butcher.
Exactly.
Mate, apart from pies, what are your customers buying the most there?
Mate, we sell a lot of beef and lamb. Pork side, but I don't sell a lot of. I'm not sure why. Again, with the sausages, we don't sell a lot of, like the pork. But beef and lamb, I can't keep up with it. And good cuts of meat, black onyx steaks like an MB5, Angus, like that's, grain-fed stuff. We predominantly sell grain-fed in the beef and lamb range. But yeah, I sell tons and tons of beef. And the lamb, we sell, again, more primal cuts over like 4/4 meat and leg meat, more sort of like your loin and your cutlets. I sell stacks of those. Even down to we do a lot of wholesale in the shop as well. So you're going to save, $10 to $15 a kilo buying a whole scotch opposed to buying it just cut up in the window, because we like to get rid of it that way, and it's a better buy for the customer as well. They get to load their freezer up. So yeah.
Very good. I like to hear you're selling plenty of beef and lamb and nothing much else of the others. So that's always good. Makes the farmers happy that pay my wages.
That's it.
So what do you think's been the biggest challenge for you since taking over the business?
Biggest challenge? It's like everything. It's just getting people in the door, just having that bit of edge over our competition, which is the big guys now. Having something different, having that customer service edge over everything. That's probably I wouldn't say a difficult part, but just being there and having that presence in the shop and giving everyone that uplift to be the same.
People skills you've got to be on top of them, don't you? You really got to treat your staff right as well as the customers. But if you haven't got happy employees, the customers they feel that when they walk into the shop, don't they?
Exactly. That's it.
So what's for the future of 21st Century Meats? What's coming up there? Anything interesting?
Well, the future for us, mate, we've got a lot of things planned. Obviously, we want to do more value adding and different ideas and more social media. The catering, we've just jumped into the catering side of things. We've done a wedding and unfortunately a funeral we catered for with our cooked meats and gravies. That's another sort of avenue we're going down. Massive one that's going to, I think, give us a bit of edge over the competition is home kills. So because I come from that background, we're going to get into the home kills. I've just purchased a truck. It actually came yesterday. We're going to set up a butchery in the back of the truck, and I've got 2 mobile cool rooms. They should be here in a fortnight's time as well, with a rail systems and 1-ton winch gantry systems for our, like, when we process and kill, we can quarter the cattle, or we can skinning up the sheep and hang them in there. With the home kill side of it, doesn't come back to the shop. It's a service kill for the farmer. It stays on the farm. So we get a call out. We get there at 6:00 in the morning, for instance, do our kill, put it in the cool room, plug it in at the farmer's shed, leave the cool room out there. We come back in a week's time, or 4 or 5 days. If it could be even a fortnight if they want it hung a little bit longer. And we come back with the truck with the butchery all in the back and process the beasts from there and wash up and go home. I think a big thing for us is going to be that game down the track. It's been very hard, obviously, to bone bodies of beef and have the young guys learn in the shop to do that. So it's going to give them the skill to learn how to break down a carcass now. And obviously it's been a little bit hard there's not a lot of abattoirs. There's more wholesale facilities around our area. It's hard to get a kill. There's not the staff in the abattoir, and we'll obviously be able to cut that part out and do the whole service for the farmer.
That's awesome, mate. That's an excellent idea there, because it's a lot of farmers, a lot of the processors aren't doing private kills anymore, are they?
One factor is there isn't the staff to do the extra work. And a lot of processors now have a wholesale side to their abattoir, which they'd rather sell direct to the the butcher instead of, if I was to go to the sale yards and buy, 4 nice steers, well, that's 4 bodies of beef that they're not selling me. So they're trying to cut that out, which I understand completely, but we need to have that edge that we can offer that service for people.
So say the farmer wanted to age his body or his couple of bodies of beef for 3 weeks. Is there a charge to having that refrigerated unit there if they haven't got a cool room big enough to store it?
Yeah, so how that works is they can have the cool room as long as they want. But they get it's a day rate on a fee on the cool room. The whole process to the cost side of it is there is a call out fee, but it's a one-off call out fee. That's to come out with the cool room and with the truck. So that covers that part. And then they've got a day rate on the cool room. Sometimes it works good both ways. If the farmer doesn't want to spend all that money, they can have it for 3 days and we can get out there and get the cool room back and get something else in there. Gets our workflow progressing. But if they want it, there's the option they can have it for, 3 weeks if they'd like as well. And then there is a kill fee for the kill side. And then there is a per kilo rate cut fee on the dressed weight of the carcass.
How long would it take you to completely process an animal?
I can probably sort of get around a good sort of steer that's going to dress out around 250 kilos per safe, 25 minutes to half an hour. That's killed, gutted, fully skinned, quartered and put in the cool room. And then the busier part of the whole process is breaking it down, obviously, and slicing it and packing it. It's probably, you're looking around a half a day there. If you got 2 guys, it could be a little bit quicker, but sometimes you might be doing 2, so there could be a full day's work there as well.
Yeah, and you'll be making sausages and mince with the trim, or?
Yeah, so the truck will have a mincer, a sausage filler, and a bandsaw, so we can do everything. We've even got a pickle machine in there to do the corn silver sides. So, yeah.
Awesome. You're offering the whole thing and a vac packer?
Well, I haven't got that yet, but that's in talks. So we're sort of trying to steer away from that. That is very time consuming, vac packing. But we do offer packaging in like 2 steaks per bag in a freezer bag labelled at this stage.
My sister she's got a property up at Wootton and they were getting a lot of beef processed and selling through there. They've got actually a winery and they've got beef on there as well. And they were selling a lot through the business that way. And they were getting the local butchers to do it. And because it was just arriving at the customer's place in a really sad way, wrapped in, freezer bags or wrapped in Glad wrap, it wasn't very good. So it does cost you a lot more. Obviously, there's that cost factor, not just for the bags, but like you said, also for the time. And it certainly made a lot of people sort of go, wow, that is so much better. The product lasts a lot longer. I don't have to, worry too much about it. Can sit in the freezer for years, basically, if it's vacked down properly. It's something I think is well worthwhile looking at, because if the meat's pretty good, I think vacuum's the way to go. But anyway, that's, like you said, it's a cost factor, and you want them to get through it as quick as they can so they can come back and get another one done, don't you?
Yeah. And we might even, I was thinking around that side of things, and a lot of farmers do like to get involved and pack their meat as you cut it. So it could be an option where they can pack it while we cut it.
Maybe you could get them to buy their own little, food saver machine in the bags and that. Sell them on the side, mate. Look, if you want them vac packed, you can do it yourself. Here we go.
Yeah. Train them right up.
It's something that I haven't seen a lot of. We went out to Mount Isa a few years back, and there was a guy out there doing it on his property. He had a little abattoir there, little kill floor and everything. And it was amazing to watch the boys sort of do it all in a cradle, process the steer in a cradle, and then put it in the fridge, leave it there. And then they'd come back a few weeks later, obviously, and then chop it all up and process it.
There's a major art to that side of things, and it's not just, for me, butchering, I know a lot, but I'm still learning a lot as well, and that's another side of butchering that butchers can get into, and can learn. So it's a full circle to it, it's not just getting a carcass in the shop and cutting it up. You can learn how to pick a beast and process it, and all the way to a pie in the warmer out the front.
When you've been doing home kills, do the farmers often ask you, which would be the best steer, or do they sort of pull one out themselves thinking this is the best one? Have you ever sort of said, hey, no, you wouldn't want to do that one, but I'd do that one?
Yeah, I've had that a few times, actually. I've had one guy in particular, I've done a couple for when I had the mobile butchery previously. Twice he had 3 in the yard and he said, I want to do one. What would you pick? And I said, well, you got 2 steers and a heifer. You're happy to do the heifer because it looks a lot better than them steers. And he said, well, I was going to pick that one as well. So yeah, you do get a lot of people do that, but yeah, there is a lot of people that will pick their own, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, but that's what they want. And like I say, the motto in the home kill world is you pick it, we cut it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you look for if you were to choose a steer or a heifer?
Oh, just like a good back formation, like a nice straight back, good proportioned around the rump, Around the tail's always a good telltale sign for fat coverage. You know, if they've got that little bulgy lump, that's always a good sign. But it's very hard to, unless you're in that sort of game and you've been around cattle, it's one of those things you need to be around it to see it and have an eye for it. There's some guys out there, I've heard in some of your podcasts before there, where there's been guys that can pick a steer out of the yards and they know what it's going to dress out at, you know. To the guy that hasn't sort of done it before, it's a bit hard, but when you're around it a lot, you learn and you pick up things and sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, isn't it? Learning. And that's the best thing about this trade. There's just so many different avenues you can go down, whether it be from like working in processing to doing what you're about to start up again, like home kills, running a butcher's shop, training to marketing where I am, you know, like there's just so much, and it's an industry that's never going to go away because people need to eat meat.
Exactly. It's endless what you can do, you know, and, you know, my dream and my end goal is to own our own farm and do the full circle. But, you know, that's down the track. Farms are expensive to buy, but if you want to back yourself, it's, you know, I started with very little and now we're sort of halfway to where I want to be, and it's sort of just over the horizon. And, you know, any young blokes listening, you start your trade, get in, and it doesn't matter if you're washing up dishes or whatever, you'll get to the good jobs and the door will open to so many opportunities.
That's great advice, mate, to anybody looking at starting the trade or who's just come into it and wanting to know, when am I going to get off the pots and pans and get and do the real butchery? You know, it comes in time, but you've just got to do those little things first and do them well, and then you work through and progress, eh?
Well, that's where it starts. You know, I always say to the young guys here, if you can't do the simple jobs, the crap jobs per se, you can't cut meat, because if you can't do the simple things, you can't do the better things in the butcher shop, like cutting a steak and packing the tray nice, because anyone can cut a steak, for instance, but it's how you trim that steak, how you make that steak look, how it's going to package in your window, how you're going to sell it. So you need to get the basics right first. And if that start from the bottom, scrubbing floors, doing dishes, well, that's just where you start. And Josh, my third year apprentice that's here now, he's cutting a full window, and where he started from was, what would they say, a dish pig. You know, he done that after school, and now he's doing everything. He's doing the fun stuff because he got the jobs right from the start.
Getting those students in to help you in the shop after school, great way to get them to start to learn a bit about the trade, get them a bit interested, give them a little bit of, just a little bit more work rather than just like, obviously they're to clean, but then eventually, you could probably get them making mince, then doing some sausages sort of thing. And that's the way that I've seen a few guys over the years when I've employed them, that they sort of get to that stage. I had one young fella, it was just after Christmas and we were very quiet. It was just me and him in the shop at that stage. And he goes, "Why don't you go home?" And I thought, hang on, that's not a bad idea, because I trusted him and he knew what to do. He could cut meat. He could make sausages, mince, everything was done. All he had to do was serve customers, basically. And I knew that if he needed to bone a leg of lamb or something, he wouldn't be able to do a shoulder, but he could do a leg. It was just so good to have somebody like that, especially if in a small shop, that can give you that support, and it's up to you to train them up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And like I've said to the apprentices, that we're a 7-day-a-week shop. I can't be here 24/7, so you need to step up, and there is opportunities to get out of your trade and be a manager or a 2IC in the shop. So we can branch out and we can do other things, and it is a good paying job if they want to knuckle down and do it properly.
Mate, what gets you out of bed in the morning about the industry? What gets you excited?
Well, it was like this morning. I had a few ideas, just a few things I wanted to get done today. It gets me up before my alarm and gets me into the shop and trialing and erroring a few things, and yeah, that's probably where I'm at the moment. That gets me out of bed early, I'm up every day just at the shop doing something. But it's just that, what can we do next? That gets me out of bed, I think.
Yeah, it's a good attitude to have, actually. Just thought you never stop thinking, do you? It's always something there. And a little bit about you, mate. I picked up earlier in the piece, you're a bit of a hunter.
Yeah. So do a little bit of hunting and fishing. I love fishing, obviously, in the summertime. Bass fishing's good around here. There's some good creeks and streams. We do a bit of freshwater fishing in. I don't really do a whole lot of saltwater fishing. But hunting, I love hunting. I used to do a lot of bow hunting and that sort of thing. Do a little bit of rifle shooting now, but probably not as much as I get time to do. But we've just come out of the rut, so got a couple nice fellow bucks in the rut, which was awesome. Probably my PB this year. I'd sent that, as I said before, to the taxidermist to get mounted on the wall. But I just love everything. Yeah, hunting and fishing and meat, really.
Got to ask you a question. Bass, can you eat bass?
You can eat them, but freshwater fish are a little bit sort of on the blander, muddier sort of side. to a saltwater fish, but yeah, you can definitely eat them. Some parts of the river, like if you go sort of at the base of like the Barringtons and that, you get nice rapidy sort of fresh water. If you catch them in there, they're nicer than what you'd catch lower, in the lower streams and rivers.
I've often looked at a few fishing shows. I look at a bass fishing show and I go, God, this is boring, because they throw them back in the water all the time. You know, they don't take them home. But I thought that might have been the case.
You'll have to come for a bass fish next summer, because it's really good to be out there and catch and releases. It's fun. So,
what's your favourite cut of beef or lamb?
Favourite cut is probably in beef. It would be a Scotch fillet, and in lamb, probably just a plain cutlet or a loin chop. So I've probably gone to the higher end there. If you're going to say something on the lower scale, like underrated cut or something like that, it'd probably be like the end cut off the chuck, just that first little bit, that little oyster that runs into the neck. Very fibrous, full of flavour. It doesn't matter what sort of beast you get it off, it's always good. So
I think they call that the Delmonico steak, don't they?
I think something like that. Yeah,
very popular in the States. And what about sausages, mate? What's your favourite sausage? Do you go for a beef one, or do you have a favourite gourmet one that you like to eat?
Because we sell so much beef and lamb in the shop, I actually mix a little bit of lamb in with the beef. In just a plain thin sausage. We've got a nice meal we've got there that we use, and it's in a natural sheep casing as well. And they're just, you can't go wrong. They're beautiful. Have them plain just by themselves, or with a bit of sauce, or in a curried sausage, or anything. Yeah,
we used to do that. We'd just do a mix of meat in our plain sausages, just a beef and lamb sausage. I've always said a good sausage just has to have some sort of lamb fat in it, because it just gives it that little bit more fullness and flavour. Goes in well with the beef.
100%. Yeah.
Mate, look, it's been really good catching up with you today. Anything else you want to add to the conversation?
Probably just with the young blokes, back to them. Just, if anyone is listening and they're probably thinking that, butchering isn't for them, or they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, just stick it out. I've been in the same position, and that's why I ended up on a farm and doing something different, but just because I was sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But just stick it out, and you could have your own shop one day.
Yeah, I think that's the plan for a lot of young fellas. Don't be too eager to get into your own shop. Learn as much as you can before you get into it, because there's a lot more to it than what you generally see, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
All right, mate. Well, look, really good catching up. Like I said before, thanks a lot for your time. All the very best for the new business venture. I hope it gets up and running soon for you. And I'll look forward to catching up with you. And I'll make sure I'm there on Pie Day next time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Good on you, Jack. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks, Doug.
This podcast is provided for information purposes only. The MLA Group strongly recommends that listeners exercise discretion and obtain professional advice before relying on any information in this podcast.